Let's go. Let's go. Let's get it on, and let's get it on.
Let's go, bro. Well, introduce yourself, bro.
What's up?
What's up, man? How you been?
Me?
Yep.
Well, I'm Gary. I've been a friend of Pedro since high school, since like 10th or 11th grade. So I'm 29 now. So it's been a long time.
Oh, that's
It's been some years since I've seen you though in person, bro. So
I know it's been a while. It's been a while. So Alex,
kept in touch.
just going with that. Remember I told you about that one friend with the big alien headphones like mine, and the class clown,
Mm-hmm.
Gary himself. You know, yeah, man. We had great times, great rhymes in high school.
Yeah.
Making Mr. Contreras mad. You know.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of good times together, brother. Never no conflict. Never no bad times together. So
always keep it real. And with that being said, we appreciate you being a part of this episode of the podcast.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Where we keep it real. No, but for real though, I know you keep it real, man. We just wanted to say thank you for being a part of this episode, man. I was telling Alex that you went through a lot, and you're a wise man, and you keep pushing. You're very well educated. You keep learning, you keep growing, and I look up to you, you know, and that's what, because my cousin was telling me, it was like, man, I'm glad you selected these people, you know, because, and I was like, well, yeah, you know, because I know, not just because I know your story, but because, like, that's one of the reasons why. I'm not going to say I'm not, but that's one of the reasons why, but because I see you as a brother, and we just want to encourage one another, but also, man, like, you're the person that doesn't give up. You know, you keep pushing for greatness. And like I was telling Alex, my cousin, I was like, if we can get people that are like-minded, if we can get people that are like-minded in this podcast, it honestly, it doesn't matter if one person listens or two people. It doesn't matter. As long as somebody listens to it and takes it up and picks up the baton as routine, and, you know, and as well for Alex, like you as well, man. So this is going to be a good talk.
Yeah, so before we get started with the Gary part, bro, like he said, I want to thank you for, you know, being a part of this, and at the same time, man, like, you know, we're here to just kind of like, in a way, bro, like celebrate your life, not in like terms of like you're dead or anything, but more in like the terms of like respecting like what you've gone through like throughout your whole lifetime, and at the same time, it just kind of goes back to something I've heard from like Will Smith. It's like a lot of times, like if you read a book or you pick up a book or you read someone's story or you're able to just kind of listen to what people have gone through, you realize that you're not the only person that's going through hardship or that are going through things that only you feel like you're going through. Like there's someone always, you know, in the timeline, you know, that we've all been around. There's been someone in our lifetime or maybe, you know, 100 years ago that's had the same problems as you. So if the people that are listening are able to connect to like some of the dilemmas and hardships and trials and tribulations that we've had over our years, then at the same time, a lot of people will relate to like not just the podcast in itself, but each of us as individuals. So, you know, take it away, bro, with your life story.
Wow. Okay. Well, let me say thank you, both of you, for having me on, for taking your time out of your day to host this podcast and to have me come on and speak. This is the first time I've ever been on any podcast. I was kind of thinking about it last night, thinking about it this morning. I was like, this should be fun, you know, because who doesn't like, you know, sharing their story, you know, even if we might be shy about it. I think we all want to speak up and come out of our shell and talk about our life. All right, so let me start from as far back as I can remember. I was born in 93, May of 93, Taurus, if you believe in that, you know, astrology and all that. But yeah, from the beginning, it was a hardship. And I say from the beginning because, well, one, I was born premature. I was born premature, like 4 months or something like that, early. Yeah, so I was born early, and the reason for that is because my mom and my dad were both battling drug addiction. You know, mom had a heroin addiction and other drugs, and my dad had his own addictions too, so that didn't help either, right? As a man, it didn't help my mom, you know, with her struggles. So that was a battle coming into the world. And then, obviously I didn't know who God was then, or I didn't know, about things like that. So it was a miracle that I even survived. When I was about 5 years old, I was put into foster care because of those things that I just talked about. Just my parents having a dysfunctional environment for me. I was put into the system, and thank God I wasn't there too long. I was there from what I can remember about a year, and I went to different families. There was a family in Southgate. For those, I'm sure all you guys know where Southgate is. Yeah. That I was staying with. There was one in East LA. I was staying with an old lady in East LA. I even bounced around within family. My eldest brother had me for a while. I got taken away from him because he too was neglecting me and stuff like that. So I eventually landed back in my dad's possession again as he cleaned up his life and got sober or whatever. I landed back with him. So I spent majority of my life of my child life and teenage years with my dad. My mom passed away in 2007, and prior to that, I didn't really have a relationship with her. I knew who she was, had hung out with her plenty of times, but still there was no connection. It always felt kind of like, I know this is my mom, but I didn't feel the love. I didn't feel the nurture. I didn't feel, like I said, the connection, and I didn't feel, I wouldn't say I didn't feel safe around her because I felt safe, but she didn't engage with me, right? She didn't when I say engage, I don't know, invest in me, right? Invest in my young mind, right? Or who I was at the time. So, eventually drugs took her life away from the family, from me. She died of a drug overdose in 2007. I circle back to how my experience was with my dad. It was rough. He was a rough man, very rough man on me in terms of I don't really talk about this much, but he was abusive. He was loving one day and then abusive another, physically, where he'll beat on me, he'll lash out and take his anger out on me, and then say things to me that would put me down. Just really kind of all the opposite stuff a kid needs, right? Mm-hmm. To grow up and feel safe in this world and feel like they have a place in this world, right? So I had a lot of self-esteem issues as I worked through my teenage years, and even now as a 29-year-old so-called grown man, right? Mm-hmm. We're always growing up in my eyes. Facts. Because there's always something that comes up in my life where I'm like, what's the root behind that, right? I always try to find out what the root is and work on it, because I started lashing out certain people in my life, and I'm like, wow, that comes from my dad. That's the root, So what do I do about it? And it's not like an overnight snap your finger and it's all gone type of thing. It takes time. It takes your investment to try to either heal from those traumas that you experience or go out and seek therapy, read books. This is therapeutic in itself, right? Just jumping on a podcast and talking about life, right? Sure. That's a therapy session for me. So
can I mention something? Can I mention something though?
Yeah.
I know it's good to talk about it, and it's good to talk about it. It's good to get distracted sometimes, but I heard this podcast from David Goggins. When I'm at the gym, I like to listen to it, or when I'm running, I listen to it. And one of the things that he says in the podcast is man, you can be all ripped and you can be, jacked up and ripped and be healthy in the body, but in the mind you're jacked up because you're busy dealing only with the body and working out the body, that you don't have time to invest in your mind and build that mental toughness, because I know we all have like rough childhoods, you know, and
Yeah.
it's good to talk about those things, whether it's in music, whether it's in videos, podcasts.
Yeah.
It's good to talk to well trusted people. And uh, with that being said, like I feel like, and that's why I was like I don't know if I mentioned it to you, Alex, but like like I feel like this is a healthy way to kind of like deal with stuff like that, you know, with trauma, with whatever it is, you know. What I'm trying to say is, let's just not just focus on the body, let's focus on the mind, you know. And like you said, the root. What is the root of this, and how could I not destroy that root, but how could I like plant? How could I guess you can say cut that root and plant a seed, a healthy seed, and instead of lashing out, you know, because I will get like that with my nieces too. I'm like, man, stop it, or I'll get a little, you know, aggressive, and I'm just like, hey, I need to stop doing this. But I heard some people tell me like, look, it's better for you to sit them down and be like, look, this is why. This is why I'm mad, and this is why you shouldn't be doing it. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, talk about it.
In a healthier manner. Like, this is why I'm screaming at you, because of this reason. X, Y, and Z. But with that being said, man, I think you're doing a great job. I feel like a lot of us, like all of us here, are doing a great job in investing not just in our body but in our mind. You know. And so I applaud you all for that.
Yeah. So I have two things, bro. Like,
Thanks,
I mean, I respect, like, you know, just, you know, like your whole life journey, and it's really kind of like motivating also, like seeing people like where they're coming from and like where they're at right now, because you get me, a lot of people get lost in like the whole kind of like being the victim mindset, and they end up just kind of like staying in the same place just because, you know, they feel like it. But it's also quite cool to see how your mentality is like, oh yeah, like every day we're growing, like, and every day we're looking to go, you know, like take it a step beyond and be a better person every day. But at the same time, it's also quite interesting how like growth and the way that you explained, it's like, yeah, you're moving forward, but at the same time, you gotta basically take a few steps back sometimes to, like you mentioned, find the root of the problem, find where like the problem may be, or what's kind of like holding you back, so you could eventually, you know, like as you're taking like 2 steps back, you could take 3 steps forward.
Right.
Exactly, and the good thing about that too, about taking a step back and recognizing what is the problem, how can we fix the problem, and find a solution, and come back stronger. You know. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. To your point, it's Alex, right?
Yeah.
Alex. Sorry. My name. Learning names is not my forte, but but to your point about, you know, taking a step back, to take a few steps forward, like, I totally agree with that. You know, sometimes we get auto focused on our path, right? And it's just tunnel vision sometimes.
Yeah.
And that could be good, and that could be bad, right? Like, it could be good in the sense that, okay, I'm gonna go hard and only focus on this until I achieve it, right?
Yeah.
To me, that's good. But then, like, if you stay in autopilot and there's no need for it at that time or that period in your life, then you're missing a lot around you, right? You're missing a lot around you. You might miss out on time spent with people like family or friends, right? So it's good, and it's good and bad, right? And so yeah, for me, like, taking a step back is reflecting. It's like, it's taking a moment to be in the moment and to just kind of either gather my thoughts, kind of get in tune with what I'm actually feeling, like the sensations in my body, what the emotions I'm feeling in my heart, what I'm thinking in my mind. Like, that to me is taking a step back so that I can move forward after that, you know. So it's always good to do that.
And I felt like even like I speak for myself, like, and I know you. I don't know if you still make music or making music. Like me, I took a step away from music because I wanted to. You know that I'm writing a book, so I was like, you know what? I wanted to find a different outlet and writing in a different form. You know.
Yeah.
And to me, it's always good to find different outlets that are healthy, you know.
Mm.
And at the time, I became a little more private, you know, in a sense where like my social medias were public, but now they're private, you know, and I only share with my friends, you know. Uh, maybe good, maybe bad, but it's always good to have, I guess, like set of boundaries, you know, set of boundaries. And that's my older brother would always tell me, bro, you give everybody access to you. Like you talk to everybody, not everybody's your friend. At work, I'm like, hey, you wanna go out? Let's go. Hey, Hey, you wanna go out? Okay. And then they expect me to pay for, hey, you know, so just stuff like that. And my brother would tell me like, bro, like not everybody's your friend. Not everybody wants the best for you. And as you know, like the older you get, I mean, you know, in high school, bro, like in high school, we were rappers, and everybody knew who we were, right? Yeah. Everybody knew who we were. You know what I mean? And then, and then, I know you had a little flashback because I see that smile.
Of course, of course.
But as we get older, don't we lose a lot of friends? You know, Not that we lose friends. It's just maybe we lose connections with them. They started their adult life. Some of them got married, kids. You know, took a different direction in life. And sometimes, like even me, like I'll be like, man, like I was talking to this person, and out of nowhere, like I got deleted. You know, off of social media, and then I get offended, and then this and that, and then in my mind, and then like I said, as we grow older, we lose. Our circle becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, but it has a purpose, though, right? like that's how I started seeing it. I started seeing it with a purpose because everything has a purpose in life, and everybody like I try not to take things personal anymore. You know, like I just want that circle where I can like grow with people around me, but also not be selfish and and reach out to others that you know. I was telling Alex, like I'm, and it's gonna sound very weird, but I'm a people person, and I like rapping in front of people, but like being on camera and doing this is weird to me, you know. It's like because I'm a shy person, you know.
It's intimate.
But it's good to be uncomfortable. But it's good to be it's right, and it's good to be uncomfortable because that's how you grow, and we can say that over and over and over again, you know.
Yeah.
And I see that in your life, Gary, and I've seen that in your life too, Alex. I've seen how you guys both change for the good. You know, I've seen you, Gary, from freaking rapping to doing this to reading books. You know what I mean? And you were always an intelligent guy. When you rap, bro, like it was always intelligent. And I was like, man, in my mind, I'm like, not even jealous, bro. In my mind, I'm just like, man, this guy raps better than me, you know? And just because at the time, I don't know if you do now, but at the time you were reading vocabulary words.
Yeah.
Know?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you still do now, but that expanded your vocabulary, and that's why you're very articulate when you speak. As with you, Alex, like you, man, I seen you grow, man. I seen you just working out at the house to congratulations on your job. You know, I seen that on you posted it. You know, doing
congrats,
something
man.
you love.
I don't know what your job is, but congrats.
I'm a stripper.
You know,
nah, just playing.
That's cool.
I'm just playing, bro.
Like doing something you love, and I feel like obviously we all know if you do something you love, it's not considered work. You know, it's considered passion, and
it's true.
You know.
Yeah, so I just want to go a little bit.
Enough of me talking.
Yes, I just want to go a little bit back to Gary, right? Because he's a guest. Gary, I know that you were saying that you were like in foster care and you bounced from place to place, and I know that those moments are always difficult. They're tough, right? From a perspective, especially like in your growing years, because you don't really establish like a solid, like I don't want to say like morals, but you don't basically have something established like with a family. Like you don't establish some type of like connection at times, or you don't really establish yourself well. Like sometimes, like as a kid, since you're learning from a bunch of different people, like it's like you know, one person might tell you like this is right, another person might tell you that same thing is wrong. Like what's the biggest takeaway that you take away? Basically, that sounds ironic, but what's the big takeaway that you take away, right, from all the families that you've been in with? Like what's like the biggest things that like come to mind
from living in different people's families? Wow, I've never been asked that question, so it's going to take me a moment to really think about
It's cool. Take your time, bro. I just didn't really know how to word it. That's why.
That's a great question though. No, I get what you're saying. Like what was the biggest I guess like
lessons that you learned from
to your
each.
point, the takeaway lesson learned or you know
exactly.
from all those experiences. I think to me, even though they weren't my blood related family and relatives and I was only in their I guess their parental guidance for so long, like it wasn't that long. I would say the biggest takeaway is the family structure, having a strong family structure, and to me that's very important. My family structure was broken, and it was broken before I even came into this world. From all the traumatic experiences that my dad had went through, the stuff that my mom went through, so it was broken long before I was here. And one of my songs, I say something, I don't remember the lyrics like word for word, but I say something along the lines like, can I cuss on this podcast?
Yeah, you can cuss. You can do whatever you want, man.
Okay. I'm just asking because I think you guys have an audience and whatnot. But so I say something.
I don't cuss, but my cousin.
I cuss all the time, bro.
Okay. Well, I'm trying not to cuss so much these days.
Same.
But anyways, what I was trying to say is, like, I didn't ask to be here, right? None of us really asked to be here, but fuck it, we're here. What do we do now, right?
True.
So that's kind of like when I look back on life, it's like I didn't ask for all these fucking horrible experiences, right?
Yeah.
But they did happen, and somehow, some way, I made it through, right? Even if it wasn't graceful, it wasn't like a simple process, but I made it through. And now, as my awareness and my consciousness has grown to where it's at, and I look back and I'm like, I wouldn't have it any other way, right? But then that's a debate in my own mind, because at times, if I'm being honest, I'd be like, I wish I didn't have it that way. So it's like, I accept it, and then at the same time, I kind of still am battling with the fact that I had the upbringing that I had, right? I'm kind of mad at it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of mad at my parents for it, you know? And like you mentioned earlier, Alex, about the victim mentality. And I think the victim mentality is very real, you know? It's a real thing. And I feel like oftentimes those people that had rough upbringings that were either dysfunctional or just downright just horrible, you're gonna experience the victim mentality at some point, right? And it's part of your journey. It's part of your journey of overcoming it and breaking through it, right? So yeah, the biggest thing I take away from all those families is how important it is to have family, a real family. So, yeah.
Wow. No, that's crazy. No, I'm sorry. I was about to say
No, I saw that you wanted to like come in, and I was like, let me just wrap it up, bro.
Yeah. No. But I wanted to say, like, you could have took two different routes. You know, you could have become that angry man,
and I did. To be honest, I battle with rage to this day. It's definitely a part of who I am, and I don't know. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I definitely am an angry man. I do have anger in me, you know, and it comes out from time to time whenever I'm triggered by something, you know, and it's horrible. And I saw something on Facebook, and it was something in the Bible. And Pedro, you know that one, I didn't grow up in a religious family. Neither did I grow up in a spiritual family. There was no spiritual religious foundation there, right? But anyways, I saw something on Facebook about rage, right? It was, I don't know if it was in Psalms or James or something, but it was like, rage is bad. Like, it's just downright bad. Like, if you are in a rage state, it can do some damage, right? You could damage yourself, you could damage others. And so it hit me. And I knew that already prior to seeing that video, but it's just like hearing it over and over again. This must be a sign. Like, I got to do something about my rage, right? So yeah, man. Continue. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah. But the thing is that you recognize it, and honestly, like no one's perfect, man. Like we all have rage. We all have like, man, like why did we grow up in this situation? Or whatever. I had a bad day today, or I had a whatever. And it's just how you like you said, you reflect on all of that. And honestly, man, that makes you a wiser person.
Yeah.
It makes you a wiser person. We learn from the mistakes, but also even the growing up, it wasn't your choice. It wasn't your choice to grow up in an environment that you grew up on. But
Yeah.
the positive thing that you can take from it, and I see that you already are doing it, is one, reflecting, but also changing. Because you're changing, you don't want to stay that way, right? So you're doing something about it. So you're reflecting, but you're also looking for an outcome, and you're like, okay, and to me, I feel like it's okay to be angry sometimes. It's okay.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like it's okay to be angry sometimes. It's okay to cry as a man. You know what I mean? It's okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we need, a strong circle of people that we can like talk to and vent to. But also
Right.
forgiving others or forgiving yourself. You know what I mean? Like, man, I forgive these people. I forgive myself. Whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like forgiveness sets us free. And I feel like you're in the right path, man. Gary, like, I know you're the guest in this podcast, and you went through a lot, man. Like, literally, you shared a lot with me, and you went through a lot, and you overcame a lot, and I just, like, it's crazy to see your journey, just continue to grow and being the man you are. But I want Alex to continue and the listeners to continue your story, man, and all of that. So
yeah.
Okay.
So
is that my cue to keep going? All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let me pick up from the whole foster care thing. Yeah, I bounced around in the system. My dad eventually got custody of me again, and things were. I think when he got me back, I was about 6 years old. I got in the system at around 5, maybe like late 4 years old. But anyway, you get the point. Like, I got back into his custody and things were fine. There was no like aggression and rage and anything initially. Then he was started drinking. And when you're 6 years old, you don't know if drinking's good or bad. Like, I didn't. I just saw him drinking, right? I didn't know what alcohol was. I didn't know if it was good or bad for him or whatnot. But he would get drunk at times, and something would trigger him. And like I said, that's when the abuse started. He started taking his rage out on me physically. Like, I'm going to just be honest. He passed away a couple years ago, so he couldn't go to jail if he wanted to. But he would beat me, man. He would punch me. He would kick me. He would spit on me. And like, wow, like, I was talking to my one of my older cousins on my dad's side of the family last year when I took a trip up to Oregon to see him and his family about this, and I started crying while I was talking about it. And he had told me, like, I had no idea that you were going through this type of stuff with your dad, like, not a clue, right? But yeah, that was one aspect of my dad, was that anger and that rage, and it went on for a number of years, you know. But then there was this other side to him that was like a good father, you know. We'd go to the park, we'd play basketball together. He was involved, right? And so it was like, as a kid, I was very confused about a lot of things, right? About myself, about why am I being treated this way, but then being treated nicely. Like, it confused me. So to this day, I'm sure those things, those effects, they still linger in me somehow. So I'm still dealing with that, right? And I think it's going to be an ongoing process of kind of just either forgiving my dad, or I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. So as I got older, in his custody, it was like there was two major outlets for me. It was basketball, playing basketball, and music. I would say music more so than basketball. Um, so I would just like kind of just consume myself with music, listening to rap, listening to rock, listening to just a variety of genres, that made me feel safe. It made me feel, at ease. So I got into just to rhyming, right? I wanted to sound like Mike Jones. I wanted to sound like what's that guy's name from Outkast? There's two guys in the group, but I wanted to sound like them, right? So I got good at rapping, right? I got good at learning these lyrics. And then eventually I got good at writing my own stuff, right? And rhyming and things like that. And so yeah, my teenage years. How were those? In school. I was kind of as Pedro knows, I was a class clown. Like I literally won class clown one year.
That's cool.
And I mean, I don't know what people thought of me. Maybe they thought like he's a fool, right? He's just a clown. He's not gonna go nowhere. He's not gonna amount to anything. Or maybe they didn't. It really doesn't matter. But yeah, so I got into this habit of making people laugh, right? I wanted to make people laugh, and somehow it brought me a sense of goodness, right? It brought me a sense of, wow, people like me, because I always felt unliked, even my family, like my siblings and stuff like that. I didn't feel accepted, and it poses the question why, right? There's a why to everything, and so making people laugh was one of my outlets as well, and that's how I made friends. So that's my spiel for now.
No, yeah, and it's really cool how you use comedy, and I kind of find it a little bit bittersweet how a lot of people, especially like the most funniest people that you could think of, like they're hilarious, but when you kind of like get to know a lot of these people, it's like, damn, dude, like you've gone through some shit, man. Like for example, a person that I really like listening to is Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee is hilarious, man. But when you listen to that guy's story, it's like, damn, dude, like your life was really fucked up, and it's a little bit bittersweet, especially with like the top comedians. And I believe, I don't know if you guys listen to Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan was talking about, he's like, one of the like the most hilarious people usually have like some fucked up like childhood trauma, like they've gone through like some really fucking foul shit. So for me, it's always kind of interesting to see how people that have gone through like the worst of the worst are always like very hilarious people. Like that's something that's always like, oh shit, like low key, you're pretty cool and funny, and then when you talk to them, it's a little bit like, dude, I want to hug you, but I don't know, bro. Like you might make me laugh.
Give me a hug and I'll give you a joke.
Yeah, basically, that basically would be the exchange.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. Like the one person that comes to mind is Robin Williams. And we all know, like he killed himself, right, or something like that.
Yeah, he killed himself.
So, yeah, to your point, there are a lot of people out there that are funny and that have these like really bubbly personalities, down to earth, and you would never think that behind all of that is this, I want to say, kind of a broken person, right, inside, right, that's just shattered, right, but all these other things like personality traits hold it all together, right?
And where do you think like your comedy like stems from? Somebody that like you that's hilarious and actually has gone through this shit. Besides the whole like, oh, I want to make friends. Like, where do you think like, where do you gather up your humor as a kid? Did you watch comedy or did you, I don't know, study jokes? I don't know. Like, where does that stem from?
It's a great question, and to me it's a beautiful question because I got that from my dad. The humor I got from him. Like I said, the relationship with my dad is like I will forever appreciate the guy because despite his own struggles, he still was there for me, right, at the end of the day. But then at the same time, there's like this guy single-handedly tormented me, right? He was my tormentor and also in a sense, my guardian, my savior, right? So it's like bittersweet. But I got my humor from him. He was to me, just so authentically funny, right? Like it was effortless when he would crack a joke. And so I get that from him, and I remember just sharing things with him about I'm pretty good with making sounds and doing accents. And
like Avery
so I
Iglesias.
remember, yeah, that guy is phenomenal. But I remember one time I told my dad, like, you want to hear something? It's a sound. You ever go to the mechanic shop and you hear like they're working on your tires and they go,
oh yeah.
So I did that sound for my dad and he was impressed, right? And like it made him laugh. It was incredible. It made him laugh, and I'm tearing up because I miss him. You know, I miss him, but it made him laugh, and then he would come to me and he's like, "Hey, make that sound, make that sound," like when you go to the mechanic, and I do it for him, and we start laughing. But yeah, I get a lot of my humor from him. Maybe little bits and pieces from my mom. Like I said, I didn't really spend a whole lot of time with her, and didn't really get to grow up with my mom, right? Even though she was alive, she just wasn't around because of, just things she was going through. She too was very bubbly with her personality, very talkative and sort of a social butterfly. Whereas my dad, he wasn't like that. But if you got close to my dad and you became a good friend of him, he was as loyal as a dog is to a man and a woman, right? And so he wasn't all that bad. I realized that he had a lot of afflictions himself, a lot of trauma. Just a little bit about what I learned about my dad, even before I was born, is I was told by his younger brother that my dad's dad, which would be my grandpa, passed away one night, and my dad was laying in the same bed with him. So my dad woke up the next morning to his dad dead, and I was like, that's crazy, So, and my dad was 12 at the time when that happened. So, boom, that's one traumatic experience my dad went through, losing his dad and waking up to his dad dead. Like that's crazy. Then when my dad was a troubled teen, I don't know if it stemmed from that experience, but maybe it had something to do with it. He was a troubled teen, getting in fights and just starting trouble. And then eventually, when he turned 17, my dad enlisted in the Marine Corps, and this was during the Vietnam era. And so I think my dad saw some combat action in Vietnam. I have all his Marine Corps paperwork here at home, so if you know anything about Vietnam or just war in general, that's another traumatic experience. It really does a lot of bad things to you. So after that, I mean, like I said, my dad was born in 53. I wasn't born until 93. So there's 40 years of a gap between us, right? Before I came into this world. So I'm sure he's been through a lot, right? Before I even got here, before fucking FedEx and UPS dropped me off, But yeah, dude, like that guy was something else, like when he wasn't on his trips and his anger trips and things like that, he was really special, I'm sure we all have like people in our life that mom or dad that are just special to us regardless of the dark side that they have, we still cherish them. Yeah.
Man, I miss your jokes, Gary. I really do.
Well, I should write a book, right?
Yeah. Hey, you know who also misses your story? Oh. Mr. Contreras. No, because I had Gary for a match class.
Yeah.
Match, right? And Gary would always get up and he'll have his trash, and if he'll miss the shot, he'll get up, turn around, and Gary had his headphones on, and Mr. Contreras was like, Gary, take those headphones on. And Gary will say something funny, but yeah, man, I really man.
Yeah, for sure, Mr. Contreras. I feel bad for that guy, man. Like it was me, Alex, and another guy named Marco. Marco. We would just would not let it be for this teacher, right? Like we were always cracking jokes, disrupting the class, right? And this guy would never get a break from us. So I kind of feel bad when I look back on that, but then at the same time, it's like I didn't want to I didn't really mean to do that, but then I guess maybe it was just a coping mechanism for me. That's how I coped with the shit that I was going through. Right, was to crack jokes and whatnot.
I feel like a lot of young kids do that though. Like they act out, or they'll start cracking jokes, or because they don't get the attention at home. So you get me? Like it's real nice to. I mean, it's nice to have attention. Like let's not lie here. And so a lot of people they'll do that at school and try to get the attention from either the students or the teachers. And sometimes I really don't know why the teachers take it the wrong way, because sometimes what the kids are doing is funny. And you can kind of tell on the teacher's face they want to crack a smile and laugh, but for whatever reason, I guess because of school, they're like, nah, that's not funny and shit. And then I would hate.
No, but no. But it's funny though, because Mr. Contreras, there was times when he would kind of try to laugh, but he would hold it in.
Yeah.
And then my mom was just let it out, Mister. Just let it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like Alex said, yeah, he might have wanted to laugh about the joke, but he's hosting a class, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He has to do his job. He kind of has to bury that stuff, right? Maybe after school when he's alone, maybe he's like, fucking Gary.
He probably tells Gary's jokes at the teacher's lounge.
Imagine he's like, hey, do you have Gary for a class? Man, that fucking kid gets on my nerves, but he's kind of funny. He's kind of funny too. So I don't know, man. I didn't mean any harm. I don't think any of us really mean any harm, but
yeah.
I mean, we were kids, man. We were kids, and
we were youngsters, yeah.
And so wasn't it be like the next move in life? Are you gonna go back to making music? Gonna write a book? What is
Yeah. I don't know, the music thing. It's one of those talents, right? That I know will always be there, right? My ability to write music, write lyrics, my ability to use my voice to rap these lyrics, I will always be there. But right now, my heart's not in it. It's not in it to go back and do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe if I sat alone in solitude and thought about it and wrote it down, I'd figure out why. But in this moment, I just don't know why. Writing a book, I don't know. Maybe someday, bro. Writing a book, but the fact that you're writing a book, it's kind of what?
Yeah.
It's kind of because I have a lot of books, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these are complete works of art, right? That these authors put together with these publishing companies and all the people that are involved, right? And I'm like, wow, I have a friend who's writing one of those, right? Yeah. He's writing a book. That's awesome, bro. So the fact that you're doing that, and you Pedro, you said that you admired me, right? Or you looked up to me. In a lot of ways, man, I looked up to you. You might have not even known it. In high school, I was shy when it came to freestyling, right? I knew I could write something. I could write the fucking baddest lyric in the world. But freestyling, that's a no-go. I struggled with that. I was embarrassed. I was shy. Pedro, this dude would walk around rapping out loud, bro, and just I was never jealous. I was just wow, how can he do it so openly, right? How can he openly just freestyle and not care that he made a mistake, or not even care that it's not even rhyming, but he's fucking freestyling sometimes, and it's just I don't know, I can't do that. I can't really freestyle, bro. And so I admire that about you, and I also admire the fact that you're a go-getter, man. All three of us in this video, I'm sure, have gone through some hardships in our life and still continue. And but you're a go-getter. You're writing a book, man. You're hitting the gym. You're getting disciplined. You know what I'm saying? You're holding down a job in society, right? Yeah. You've made a lot of good music. You're taking care of your nieces. All these things, you wear many hats, right? So I admire that in you. That you're doing that, and you may not hear a lot of praise from other people, or you might not even hear thank you or I love you. I appreciate you. you know, all that stuff fills us up, right?
Yeah.
You know, because last night I was kind of feeling down. The reason why I was feeling down was because my older brother hit me up and he texted me. He lives in Moreno Valley. I live in Hollywood. Like, it's like at least an hour and a half, 2 hours away, right?
Yeah.
So he hits me up. And I'm out and about. I'm with my fiance Grace and my stepdaughter Madeline, and we're door dashing, right? So I door dash for supplemental income, for extra income, and he hits me up. I'm reading this message, and he says, "Let's go to the casino." And I'm like in my head, like, damn, that sounds fun. Like, you know, he's like, drop everything and let's go to the casino. And I was like, I think I said something like, damn, bro, that sounds good, but I don't have the money right now to splurge like that, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And then I go, plus I have Grace and Maddie with me, and he goes, just leave Maddie with my kids. And so I was like, his name is Manuel. I was like, fucking Manuel, like, just, I know he deals with a lot of his own stuff, and it's not my place to really put out the things he's been through.
Yeah.
But I know he hits me up from time to time to hang out because I know he just misses his little bro. You know, he just wants to hang out with his little bro. So I started to feel bad because I told him no, that I couldn't, right? And that's one of the things I kind of struggle with internally is saying no or turning down things that I just can't either afford or can't get into. I start to feel guilt and I hate it, man. Like, I just hate feeling guilty because I'm sure if any of you guys felt guilty before, it kind of just weighs you down, right? And like, I don't know. I wish I could just get over that thing, get over that hump of feeling guilt or feeling bad because I had to say no to something.
No, yeah, like me and Pedro have talked about this before, and I feel like as a dude, you always want to like solve problems. You always kind of like want to be there. Like you want to always say yeah because you want to be like reliable. You get me? And as a dude, for the most part, you're like the person that's providing, right? Like you always want to like you want your presence to always be felt, whether it just be for leisure or whether it be like for necessity. And sometimes like when we say no, it's like, fuck, dude, like I really want to do it and I really want to help you, but it's just like I can't. And me and Pedro were talking about it like a couple podcasts ago, and he talked about something. He said something very important, which was it's just better to say no because sometimes we're gonna end up regretting stuff because sometimes like we'll say yeah to certain things and we don't have the money, and then later on we're suffering because of the fact that we wasted our money on a leisure or a want, right? Or like sometimes like we'll say keep saying yes to these people, and the moment that we need them, like they don't show up for us. You get me? So at the same time, like sometimes like we like going back to what Pedro said, like we need to create those boundaries, and sometimes it's just kind of tough for us to, although we have to say it. Like there's gonna be instances where, you know, sadly by force we have to say no. Like we have to kind of like neglect it at least for that day. You get me? I mean, there's always a time and place for everything. But it's just sometimes like you just can't do it. You get me? You can't afford it, or for whatever reason you don't have the time for it, or sometimes I mean we have, you know, especially living in Cali, it's like it's tough. It's tough. It's expensive. Like we can't afford like, you know, somebody that, you know, with all due respect, in Texas that's a little bit cheaper that is able to afford. You get me?
Oh, shots fired! Shots fired! Look, hey, but Pedro, he said with all due respect, all right, man. So don't take it personal.
Check it out. So I wanted to add to that. So, you know, again, with the growing older and circles getting smaller and everything, and becoming more wiser and choosing your people, etc. With I had a big struggle saying no. Like I'll go to church and I'll pick you up, yes, and then I'll be at work. I'll give you a ride, So I will get like 4 or 5 people rides, and I'll get home like 3-4 hours later giving everybody rides. But then I didn't have my vehicle, and they couldn't do the same thing in return. And now it's not about that I wanted something in return. It would have felt good to have somebody like help me out too. One, and then second thing is I'll be like, yes, I'll do it. Yes. And then when it came time to pick you up, or it came time to go out or whatever, I'll be like, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. So it's better to say no than say yes and don't go through with it. You know. And I've learned because I went through that so many times. I'll say yes, and there's times I couldn't. I couldn't give so many people rides anymore because I couldn't do it anymore, you know.
Yeah.
So it just becomes you know, like I would always hear, you cannot help others if you cannot help yourself 1st. And I've learned it the hard way, you know. So don't be afraid to say no. Maybe, you know, set schedules where maybe, you know, you can turn that yes into a maybe. And what I mean is, hey, I can't right now, but maybe this weekend we'll set it up. You know, you know that meme that says, "Oh, for adults, hey, let's hang out." Oh, somewhere in a couple of months. You know what I mean? But it's always good to set it up and have that healthy relationship instead of like, yes, I'll do it and then don't do it. You know, so I feel like there's ways to be healthy around it. Obviously, you know, everybody has their own thing going on. So if I say, hey Gary, or hey Alex, let's hang out, but you know, I'll let you know when things come up. You know, I know, right?
No.
Call me out.
No.
Why are you gonna call me out?
No. Hell nah. You hang up by yourself.
Oh man, that's fucked up.
Nah, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
But I had told my brother. I told him, like, this is so last minute. Like, come on, dude. Like, drop everything I got and drive to Moreno Valley. Go to damn casino. Like, come on, let's be realistic here. Like,
that's true.
It just wasn't realistic to me. So, to your point, Pedro, about a future dating it, right? Like, hey, I can't do it this weekend, or I can't even do it next weekend, to be honest, because I got some plans already. But this is the second time that he's hit me up about going to the casino, and whatever his thought process was in terms of why he wants to go, why he's asking me, you know, I don't know. But I do definitely want to just hang out with my bro. It's been quite some time. He was living in Watts. That's where my mom's side of the family's from, right? He was still so yeah, he was living in Watts, and I know for like years he was like planning his next move. Right, buying a home is not easy, especially from a financial standpoint. So eventually he saved up enough and he bought himself. He's buying himself a home in Moreno Valley. So from Watts to Moreno Valley, and I don't know where I'm going with this now. So, but yeah, I'll eventually hang out with them. And we'll go to the casino and have fun.
No, but it's cool. It's cool though, man. Like it's cool. And sometimes, like last week, it was my niece's. A perfect example. It was my niece's birthday party. We did like a little cake, a little something, and then like a day before, my friend's like, hey, my daughter's birthday is you guys want to come through? And my niece and my sister already had their own plans going on. So I was like, hey, we would love to. If the party ends, if the birthday party ends early, we'll go. And and this is what she said. She was like, no, we totally understand. It was last minute, you know. So if you can make it, you can make it. And to me, that's healthy because she could have said, no, you didn't show up. You know? And,
right.
And no, being real.
I get you.
And took it the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Right. She acknowledged. Yeah, she acknowledged. I hit you up last minute. So that's good.
And that's all. But with that being said, too, it's like going back to the whole, like, maybe hit your brother up and be like, hey, I'm available this day. We should go out to eat or whatever and catch up, you know?
Yeah.
And do it and do it like that, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and that is healthy, bro, because of the fact that some people have what, you know, they call in psychology, I think it's called the spotlight theory, meaning that they think like the world revolves around them. That's really healthy, bro, because nowadays I feel like it's quite often, bro. I think because of like the whole social media and everybody's kind of feeling like a little star. Like the moment you kind of like tell people no and kind of create boundaries, like people get offended, and it's like, bro, like I got a fucking life too. Like I have, you know, my own time, and my time is also like limited on this world, motherfucker. You get me? It's like, like dude, like chill the fuck out.
Oh shit, that's funny, bro. Yeah. No, that's so true, bro. Like, what's the theory called again?
I think it's called the spotlight theory, bro. I think that's what it's
Spotlight.
called.
No, it's called the me theory, right?
The me theory. Okay. That's
No,
interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up and kind of learn more about that. But yeah, man, like we all gotta well, who am I to say we all have to? But I think we all should try to be more just cognizant is the word, I guess, of other people's time, their schedules, what they got going on in their life, and respect it and acknowledge, like to your point, Alex, that hey, man, we all got things to do, right? We all got a path that we're walking. We all have a schedule. We have a routine. And hey, bro, like I'm thinking about my brother now. Like, hey, I appreciate you thinking about me and wanting to include me in your plan, but I just can't do it right now. You know, I just can't. A couple weekends from now, maybe we can. You know, if you're available now, because I don't know what you'll be. So it's like he's gonna be like no, and I'll be like, well, okay, well, have a great weekend. Yeah. I hope you go to the casino and win without me. but yeah, yeah, man, this has been a cool experience. Just to hear other people's input. You guys are both wise. You know, both have a what I would say a valuable opinion, because not every opinion is valuable, right?
Yeah.
To me, like there's a lot of opinions out there that are just like, bro, just don't speak it. Just keep it to yourself. So, and then there's people such as yourself that have good input, good wisdom and insight and experience, and adds value to me, right? And I'm hoping that I'm doing the same for you guys, adding value, because in this world, a lot of people want to take from you, right? They want to take away from what you got going on. They want to downsize and downplay your dreams and your aspirations, and that's pretty fucked up. Like, there's a root cause behind that, but that's just fucked up. The reality is that we live in a world that is like beautiful all at the same time, but it's also like pretty grim, you know, the world we live in. So yeah, thanks guys for having me here.
No, and I know I said this like a few podcasts ago. I just want to say thank you, Gary, personally again, for those books that I haven't read yet. But
you're being honest, right?
No. Thank you again, man. Like I said, I have them right here with me, but just thank you again, because that tells me something about you, man. That you're investing in your friend. You're investing in a friend, and I see that with the grateful heart. You know, I receive it. You know, so thank you for that.